Now you might notice, talking of little monkeys, you might notice it's this little monkey here. Why, hello! How the devil are we? Good. I would say morning, it's morning for me. Maybe not for you. So, what's been on? As you can see, Satnav installed. Finally. What a little pain. So I've got the Givi or Givi or Givi, however you pronounce it. Satnav holder that arrived. That was easy enough to install. I did it all. Did I do it all the same day? No, I didn't. Yes, I did. I can't remember myself now. Yeah, I did it all the same day. What should have taken, in my mind, maybe an hour, maybe. Oh, took all afternoon. And I ended up having to put it all back together in the dark, which sounds drastic, doesn't it, if we were talking July, but I mean it was getting dark by 6:30, 6:15. Anyway, so in order to power it, first thought was obviously run it off the battery, but I ain't taking the tank off. I didn't even fancy taking the fairing off, and I thought about maybe trying to run it through under the tank somehow and down the side and tuck it in and all of that. But one big problem, you don't know if your wire is then lying across the top of the engine getting hot and melting. Two, you don't want it flapping around if it comes untucked or anything like that. So, I mean, that's what I did with the Motor Guzzi. I managed to get the wire up in under the tank, pull it up tight over the top of the frame that runs down the middle, and all was good. And because the cylinder heads, because it was a transverse engine, the cylinder heads popped out the side, there was no worry about the cable running across the top of the cylinder heads. Anyway, so next thought was maybe get the 12-volt auxiliary port, but the problem with that is you've then got to put a USB insert in the output, and then it's not waterproof when you plug it in with USB cables. Defeats the object, doesn't it? So I decided I was going to use the takeoff for the auxiliary port, which is in behind the dash. So I had a look on Fleabay, as you do. Well, I had a look on many places trying to find what connector it was, and I found some on eBay. Fortunately, you know, Honda, like a lot of people, reuse components. So I bought the correct plastic connector, but it was the kit, so it was the black shell, the black plug, if you like, the metal inserts, and the waterproof grommets, and you had to assemble it all. A bit squirmy. And then after I bought that, I then found one that was already wired, which sounded a much better idea. Plug it in, splice the the two wires in for the satnav cable, job done. But you see, that didn't arrive until I was all done and dusted. So the kit form turned up first. So I took the screen off. Oh, I had to buy a panel trim set remover thingy bob, you know, a box of plastic things that different shapes to let you pop off the various panels. So I got a box of them. So whipped the screen off, because my plan was to route the wire for the satnav, the power cable, down through here. There's two holes in the top here, one here, where the bracket comes through from the front subframe, if you like, that holds the screen on. But you have to take the bracket out, or the screen off and the bracket out, to get the wire through, which is what I did. So all that was good. So then it came to assembling the plug kit. Oh, I had to buy a soldering iron. So with some help from Derek from Solo Moto UK, bless him, bless his cotton socks, finally got that soldered together. So with a lot of fuffing and effort, you know, I put those in excuse me, I put those in and I struggled to get the bloody plastic grommets in as well, because you put the wire through the hole with the connector on the end, and then the plastic grommet then drops down over the top of it into the hole to seal it. Oh, so I did that, and then every time I plugged it into the outlet here, the takeoff, it just pushed the connectors and the wires straight back out. And I was getting a bit frustrated with this. So I looked at it again and again and again, and then came to the conclusion that, well, obviously I've got them in upside down. I'm going to have to spin them round. But trying to turn them around and put them in, the bloody thing, the spade, or the female spade, if you like, just would not seat in far enough. It just wouldn't. So after thinking bollocks to it, I'll have to wait for the wired one to come. I regrouped and got some pliers and shoved that frickin' thing in there, and it went click. Ah, excellent progress. But then I couldn't get the grommets in properly any sense. Anyway, I got it all done, all plugged in. Now, oh, see, this is the trouble with just talking bollocks, isn't it? You have to backtrack. So when you pull the dash off, there's a block connector on the back which connects the TFT screen. Now, you don't have to unplug it, but if you want to see what you're doing, and especially when you don't know what you're doing like me, you need to unplug it. So I unplugged it and put the dash inside. You little monkeys. Now, of course, to find the which was the positive terminal on the output, I needed to have the ignition on. So that took some doing. Is my multimeter, I couldn't get it in there any sense to get a reading. Then I had the multimeter set on AC instead of DC, so I couldn't get a proper reading, which baffled me for a while. So a quick chat to Derek. He suggested maybe the engine needs to be running to get a proper voltage reading out of it. So I tried that. No. Anyway, worked it out. I had the multimeter on AC. So anyway, plugged it all back in. Switched it on. Yep, dash works. Good. Now you might notice, talking of little monkeys, you might notice it's this little monkey here. Engine management light. I saw that come up when I switched the dash on, and I thought, I don't recognise that being on when I switched the ignition on. And yeah, I now have what many of us would refer to, or maybe I'm just an idiot, but I'd call it an engine management light, but it's a malfunction indication light or lamp. So my first thought was, oh shit, maybe I've shorted something. Maybe when I was fuffing around with the probes of the multimeter, the prongs, I'd shorted it, popped a fuse. So following evening, seat off, checked all the fuses. No, they were all good. Everything worked. So I hit up the Transalp 750 UK user group on Facebook, run by Dave. Hello Dave. I thought someone might know. They might know. It's the trouble, it's a new bike. It's there's bugger all info out there about anything. So I described what I'd done and what I now have, and within a few minutes, helpful chap, I can't think of your name at the moment, I do apologise, said, oh yeah, that's fine, it'll do that because you disconnected the dash and had the ignition on, so it's thrown up a failed comms to dash error, and it should go out of its own accord after cycling the engine a few times. Well, it hasn't gone out yet. Because it was gibbering gobbledygook.